No F-bombs within the first 8 to 9 seconds of the video. Otherwise, it gets demonetized. But cracking a beer is just fine. That's right. Yes.
That's as it should be.
Damn right.
Anyone out there not drinking, I don't know why you're here.
Well, if you're a certain fan of a certain fan base, you probably are. No wonder no one's here. What is going on, everyone? And welcome into the
It seems a little light tonight. We're down a couple usuals, huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if Tim's working.
I'm working.
There he is.
Working. My pimp's got me working tonight. Hold on, I'll be right back.
All right. No, his mic wasn't working earlier, so it was like
must be discount tonight if they got you working.
So, everyone, welcome into the Voice of College Football's After Dark show right here on the main channel. For some of us, it was a extraordinarily good weekend. For some, not so much, and we're going to get into all of that. But I do have to take a side note here really quickly so I don't forget. Apologies to everyone. Merrimack had a bye weekend, so there's no news about the Warrior football this week. So, go Merrimack. But they got rest. They were getting rest this weekend.
Much needed.
Everyone knows where Tim is at, but Sean, tell people where they can stalk you and Spaz too.
You guys can find me right here every Sunday night on Voice of College Football. Hoping I won't be here next Sunday. If I'm not here, I'm doing good things. Things are going well for me if I'm not here. If I am here, life's typical. It's my typical.
You're a liar. Because if you're not here, that means things are going real shitty for you next week.
No. If I'm not here next week, they're going really shitty or really, really well. So I hope to not see you guys next week, but we'll see.
Yeah, you just don't you don't want to face the ugly ducklings if we spank that ass.
That will have absolutely nothing to do with my presence or absence next week.
Sure.
We'll have zero. It has zero bearing on that.
Yeah.
What about you? Where can people stalk you?
Hey, y'all can find me here every Sunday night and also on Wednesday nights. And this week, you're going to find me on Monday, Wednesday, and probably Saturday for a pregame show, unless a miracle happens and somebody feels sorry for my worthless butt and gets me a standing room only seat. I'll be in Eugene, but if most likely not.
And the post game then too.
And the post game, yeah.
That's right.
This would be a really good time to drop like a link to any or to any promos, any partnerships we would have with like a ticket company or something right now. Like SeatGeek or TickPick, when it's a partner right now.
I don't have any of them as partners.
Right.
Well, screw that.
I wish.
Yeah.
I am seeing a 243 is the cheapest I'm seeing for a ticket.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all. That is not a bad deal.
Did I miss
above my pay grade?
Did I miss the topic where we're talking about the thing that happened on SEC Network?
I am completely unaware of what you're talking about.
We haven't even started, really, Jackson.
Yeah, hold on. Is Tim muted again? Yo, you're muted. That's why.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah, we haven't gotten into anything yet, Jackson. So by all means, Jackson and Tim, tell people where they can stalk you. I mean, everyone knows where to find Jackson and Tim these days, but you know.
Oh, that's awesome. We're live. That's wonderful. Hey, how's everybody doing?
And he's like, yeah.
You don't see it written up in the top, Tim?
No, I don't have the full screen view right now.
Oh.
Well.
Nice.
Oh, so it's my turn to tell people they could stalk me?
Sure, why not? Let's go with that.
I'll be quick about it. You can stalk me on X at JacksonBOCFB and on Jackson Johnson 543908 on Instagram and Threads. On YouTube at Jackson Johnson 979, where I'm 122 subs away from the magic number 500. And you can also find me on Alabama with the Voice of College Football every week, Mondays for Crimson Tide Live with Johnny Burks and myself, 5 p.m. time. And you can find me on the Crimson Tide post game show, plus many more as well.
And you can find me on USC Voice of College Football and on anywhere Jackson Johnson is watching his stuff.
Oh,
Well, is there any significant news of the week anyone has to bring up specifically, for any purposes? We already touched upon, again, there's no news. Merrimack had a bye week, so we don't need to touch upon Merrimack. They're getting rested up, so there's my news for the week for the sickos in the audience.
That's right.
No?
I don't think so. I can't think of anything.
I will say for schools like Florida and in the case of Billy Napier, no news is good news.
No news is very bad news for me on that front. I need them to lose and for them to get his ass out of there.
But of course, you can come on Amazon, or better yet, check the latest book from Mark Rogers, Disputed National Champions, College Football.
You're in the portal, Jackson.
Jackson, we got some tunnel trucks swinging in here.
Ooh.
I think
Yeah.
everyone's echoing.
Who's
I tried
that?
to. I think it's Jackson.
It was
You're
Jackson.
in
No,
the
Jackson's muted.
portal,
Nope.
Jackson.
Nope. Maybe it's Sean. Because Jackson muted and it's still echoing. Let me go in here. It just kind of came up all of a sudden, so I was like, that's kind
It's Sean. He echoes every week.
Echoing out loud.
He's in an echo chamber.
Hold
It's like
on.
I see other people editing stuff.
It's not nice to call Ohio State an echo chamber. That's not nice.
Kind of true though. It's like I saw someone else. I think Tim editing and stuff. So I was like, I'm not going to edit anything.
I don't care.
Is it me? Have you muted me yet? Hold on.
Sean, do you have headphones?
It's still echoing. And he was
No,
muted.
I don't hear anything echo now.
I hear an echo.
Yeah,
I
there's still
hear
an
an
echo.
echo. Yeah, I still hear an echo, and Sean and Jackson are both muted. And
Oh,
I'm
let me mute myself.
on headphones, so maybe it's Tim. Weirdly enough. Yeah. Now you're muted, and now the echo's gone. That's weird.
Is it there now?
Nope, still gone.
I don't hear it at all.
Wait. Nope, now it's back again. Hold on. What the hell's going on now? This is why you people got to get in here before the show starts, not right before the show starts. Anyways, we're rolling with this. Jackson, you had the pleasure of dealing with the pain. Is Vanderbilt the number one team in the country?
Is Vanderbilt
The number one ranked team in the country.
Because here's the everyone brings their against Alabama. The Alabamas, the USC's, the Michigans, the Ohio States, the Oklahomas, Texases, and the rest of the Blue Bloods and the Oregons as well in all of college football. Everyone brings their A games against those schools. Nobody brings their A game against Georgia State. But we'll wait happens for when they go against Kentucky next week. Because I can't help but wonder if they're going to some technical difficulties, I guess. But, yeah, I am wondering if Vanderbilt's is going to let this game go to their heads. I am sad to see, of course, Alabama losing this one. And unfortunately, it was the first time since 1984 that it happened, and the first time since 1969 that we lost to Vanderbilt Nashville.
Yep, it's something to do with me.
We're trying to. But I don't know. Spaz is troubleshooting on his own now. Anyways, yeah. I had to go to a concert, but I was watching it. It was like,
Is that better?
It sounds a lot better. Yeah.
yeah, something
That's-
wasn't plugged in somehow. I don't know what it was.
Fucking
It was weird.
headsets. Every time I plug a goddamn headset in.
It didn't do it earlier on our live show, so that's why I was like, that's weird.
I missed you guys. That's what I come back for. Is this? These moments. They're so beautiful.
We missed.
I get them nowhere else. That's why I keep coming back. I can't quit you guys. I can't quit you.
Yeah.
We can't quit you either, man.
It was funny too because it wasn't happening earlier, so it's like it just started to happen all of a sudden too, like before, because it wasn't happening when we were backstage, so that was weird.
I know why it is.
But all right, well, Spaz is working on things over there. Yeah, I had to go to a concert and I was watching, but it was like early fourth quarter, and I was like, "What is happening right now?" Like, it's just like, whoa.
It feels honestly similar to 2017 Oklahoma Iowa State. I don't know why, but it kind of feels that way. That game,
Yeah.
you did not expect your team to lose. You did not expect the Blue Blood to lose to a school that no one really thinks about a lot.
I just have to say, obviously, like, you feel a little bad for Bama fans, not really, because they've had it good enough. But I mean, if all the people that went to that game, like, to see them like storm the field afterwards, I mean, if you're even going to a Vanderbilt Bama game and rooting for Vanderbilt, you deserve every every ounce of that victory, because that's just, it takes a lot of balls to even show up to that game. So, and unfortunately, they weren't in a town that really parties very much at all, so they didn't really get to enjoy it at all.
So, does anybody remember Diego Pavia?
Oh yeah.
Am I echoing?
I can't quite tell. No.
We're not,
Okay.
we're not echoing, so we're okay. It's probably you've got to.
Well, last year he was
Yeah.
that QB that led New Mexico State to that magical upset against the Auburn Tigers. And at that time, Jerry Kill was the head coach. Jerry Kill retired, and he's not the head coach anymore. But guess where he's at now? He's at Vandy as an assistant coach, working with Diego Pavia. And it's strange. The police let the fans drag the goal. Oh, yeah, everybody got pretty excited.
Yeah, I saw them. They carried it right down Broadway.
Yeah.
They blocked off the entire street there for a Vanderbilt football game.
So, but yeah, it was a sad day for Alabama Nation, including myself. But it was a fantastic finish for the Vanderbilt Commodores in Nashville, Tennessee. And I keep thinking about how I don't know why, but like this line from Monsters University was going into my head all day yesterday. Where like the guy saying to Mike Wazowski, nobody's gonna remember you, but then Mike claps back with, "Yeah, but when we beat you, no one will let you forget it."
Yeah, that game will be talked about for the next 20 years.
And this is like the fourth time the Alabama Crimson Tide has lost as a number one ranked team to an unranked team. The first time was 9-6 against Georgia Tech in 1962. The second time was 6-3 against Mississippi State in 1980. And of course, 41-38 was the third time against Texas A&M in 2021. And yesterday against Vanderbilt was the fourth time that we lost as a number 1 team against an unranked in all of college football.
Well, for me, I would say that I don't know if that was the most. I mean, I'd say that was definitely a shocking loss. Is there another one that was more shocking to people?
No, of course not. That's like a once a decade upset yesterday.
Tennessee, Arkansas was pretty close.
It was a bit surprising, Arkansas, but yeah, Arkansas is a bit up and down.
But nothing takes the cake of Vandy beating Alabama.
What I don't really understand, which I mean, even though I get the frustration in Tuscaloosa, I get it. But some of the fans, and I've had some people that have told me, and these are clearly people that have not watched college football a lot that have told me this. They're like, Nick Saban done this. Nick Saban wouldn't have done that. And I knew that was coming. I knew it. Well, these aren't Trojan fight. That I can guarantee.
Jackson, don't worry. Those are all the fans that are jealous. You got Kalen DeBoer, who's a great coach, and you guys are set for years. So don't worry about their whining. Believe me.
Because it's all
it is. You guys just beat Georgia, man. Don't let those guys try to harp.
Yeah, because it's like some of those people that were telling me, Saban what done, Saban what done. It's like nobody is gonna get up there. Nobody can get Cincinnati's Saban. Don't get me wrong. And I think Kalen DeBoer's gonna do fine in Tuscaloosa. And all those people getting upset about DeBoer are basically just throwing the baby out with the bathwater. He's gonna get. I mean, his track record at Fresno and Washington, he did great over there. He's going to work that same magic over in Tuscaloosa.
Any coach, Jackson, that goes in and takes a job after Nick Saban just instantly gets my instant respect. There's so many coaches just like, oh, hell no, not even going to do that. It takes a special set to walk in and say, no problem. Hold my beer. I got this. I'll take over Alabama after Nick Saban leaves. That shows you the confidence he has in his ability, and that's exactly what you want in an Alabama coach. And you guys have a solid coach that people, again, it's got short memories. Someone in the chat, I missed it, but they're talking about they should drop out of the top 10. You are not defined by your losses. You're also defined by your wins. And I don't know how many teams are going to be beating Georgia. Georgia's not the Georgia of the past couple of years, but they're still a solid program, and you guys beat them. So, I mean, I don't know what people are talking about. Alabama is most likely, probably. I mean, in my opinion, Alabama will be back in the championship game. But I think that the end of the season will be playing for the national championship. In my opinion.
And I think maybe the nation should have foreseen this a little bit more as a possibility than we did. I mean, this is a typical trap game. Coming off of a game of the year environment, the biggest win in college football the week before. They're going on the road, play a team with a quirky offense, that has shown some ability this year. Vandy was only about a 23-point underdog, which is huge. It's still big, but I mean, it's not like in the past where this game would have been like a 40-point something spread. This Vandy team is much improved, and Bama has shown some vulnerability through points this year. A struggle, a 3.5 quarter struggle fest against South Florida, who's not a great team. Their defense has been, very inconsistent this season. So I mean, we probably shouldn't have been as shocked by this as we are, but because the name is Vanderbilt, it's Vanderbilt, Alabama. I don't think anybody gave this much mind as an upset possibility.
Well, hang on. They did lose to Georgia State. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, but
no one should have seen this coming.
But they did also handle Virginia Tech, and they did also take Missouri to overtime. I mean, that's not a. I mean,
Missouri was exposed too. Missouri was exposed.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're looking ahead to the mighty USC Gamecocks. I think they're looking for. Yeah. What do you think, Jackson? You guys think we're peeking ahead to the Gamecocks?
I think we let that Georgia game go to our head.
That's very, very likely. A little bit of hangover at celebration, maybe not as serious as we. So that's the comment where people are getting that Nick Saban wouldn't allow this to happen. That kind of stuff. How Nick Saban always downplay everything and then always play up to the opponents, so like that. So, I mean,
yeah. Well,
listen. The good news is you guys have a solid team. You guys aren't going anywhere, and with DeBoer as your coach, you guys aren't going for a while. So, I mean, everyone loses.
Like I had because I had those one or two relatives getting all pissed about what happened yesterday. Like they don't watch. They're not watching college football like we are, unfortunately. But I will say, I think what also lit a fire on Vandy's ass was hearing that comment from Coach Saban 3 weeks ago. Was that Vandy wasn't that hard to play? That they were not a hard place.
He's saying that the stadium was not a hard place to play at because, I mean, especially because they're in Nashville, and all these SEC fans have a bunch of alumni in Nashville, so Vandy's usually getting outdrawn by their road opponent.
I want Vanderbilt to join the Big Ten so I can go to Nashville once every couple of years. That would be that would be a good ad. I'll take that. I'll take a visit to Nashville once in a while.
Oh yeah, I've been there a couple of times. That is a fun. I don't even like country music, and that is a very, very fun town to hang out in.
Well, you just scoot over to Memphis then. It's not that far away. Just do the roadie.
Well, it's probably like 3 hours or something like that. I don't know.
No, but Nashville's not just country. I mean, you can go. There's all kinds of.
No, it's not. It's not. But it's a very cool place. It's a very no one there cares. I did love it. Love Pat McAfee calling it the Vegas of the Midwest. I'm like, do we need to get Pat some geography lessons here?
Daryl, did you guys pad your preseason enough so you guys will make a bowl game this year? Just checking, asking for a friend. Did you guys pad your preseason, a bunch of patsies, so that you guys will actually qualify for a bowl game? Just checking in.
Dave Valensky says, I'm going to laugh my ass off when Vandy loses to Ball State. Ooh. Oh, thank you for the super chat contribution. Appreciate it. I guess we'll wait and see what happens between Vandy and Ball State because nothing is really a sure thing in college football.
Nope.
But
it's a shame this year because it really does not appear to be that team that's invincible. So for teams that are missing pieces and flawed, before the Ohio State Buckeye chimes in, we're gonna find out next week that you got the Ducks, you got Ohio State. Both teams look like they're playing at a high level. We're gonna get to see when they actually start play some with a pulse to see what their teams are made of.
Iowa doesn't have a pulse.
Didn't look like it. Listen, by the way, here's my question for you guys. I'm get all the hate world, and I hope Lomansky, you're not listening.
Minnesota doesn't have a pulse.
But here's what I want to say. What's that? Did they play Minnesota? I missed that. Did you? Did you play Minnesota?
No, but I know it.
Spaz.
I know it.
Spaz,
Even California did.
Spaz, go check your schedule and come back to us. Okay. So but the thing I keep hearing about Iowa is, and this is the truth I want to. I mean, I'm not a Big Ten guy. I don't follow as much as I am now, but it just seems like. Correct me if I'm wrong. What was the last time that Iowa played Ohio State? What was the score? Anyone know? Sean, you there? Did they score a touchdown? I don't think they scored at all in that game.
I'm sorry. What was the question again? What last time Iowa played who?
So last time Iowa played Ohio State, did they score in that game?
The last time before, they played 2 years ago. They scored a defensive touchdown against us 2 years ago. 54 to 10 in Columbus.
Okay.
2 years ago.
Yeah,
Right.
but what was the score at halftime? Tim's got a point there. What was your score at halftime?
I was 7-0.
Okay,
But they, I mean,
good
like,
news is, the good news is,
you watch it. Go. I'll let Tim go
the
ahead.
good news is about football is it's not a 30-minute game. And usually you actually see your team usually after halftime when the adjustments are made. That's number one. Number two, how did Iowa do against Michigan the last couple of times they played Michigan? Was it a close game?
What? No, but Michigan had excellent teams, and Iowa offensively is much better this year than they're not even good offensively, but they're much different than they were the last couple. They're not bottom 5 in the country offensively.
No. But they didn't. How many points they score against you guys on Saturday?
Against our first team defense, 0. They scored 7. They scored a touchdown late, but yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what about like, I understand they have a good defense, okay, but it still seems like they don't have an offense. I'm still trying to figure out why Iowa is considered a really good team. I mean, I'm literally being honest. I'm not being a smartass. I'm not being smartass Tim at all. I'm trying to figure out why Iowa is regarded as such a great team in the Big Ten. Because
they're really consistent. They win most of the time. They play lower competition. And they're physical. They're a tough, like even the game this weekend. I mean, like that. They make you earn. They make you earn your yards. They make you earn your yards. They make you earn your points. And yeah. I mean, like, and I mean, we made a couple mistakes in the first half. Turned the ball over a couple times. Killed a couple good drives. And like that. That's what they're going to do to you. I mean,
didn't Iowa lose? Didn't Iowa lose Iowa State as well? I mean, this year.
Yeah, and Iowa State's really good. They lost on a last second 52-yard field goal, and Iowa State's a really good team this year. Iowa State's undefeated right now and top 15 in the country, I believe. I mean, they're not a joke. That's not a terrible loss.
So I'm not saying Iowa's a bad team. I'm not saying Iowa's a bad team whatsoever. It just seems like when they play the better teams in the Big Ten, it doesn't usually work out for them. That's all I'm trying to say to you.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And I was I was talking on one of the Buckeye shows this week. People were asking, like, is Iowa a trap game? And I said, Iowa's not really a trap game. It's an annoying spot. Like trap games, one, they're usually on the road. And two, they usually involve playing a team that's kind of like high variance. Like they can be up, they can have some bad losses, but they've got something sort of funky and they can show up for big games and beat much better teams. Iowa's not a high variance team. They are a no variance team. You know exactly what you're getting just about like every single time you play Iowa.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be physical. It's going to be physical. They're going to be really disciplined. If you make a bunch of mistakes like we did in 2019, that they'll capitalize and they'll kick your ass. Or no, 2017. But they're an annoying opponent. But usually if you've got better horses than them and you're remotely disciplined, you'll walk out of there with a W.
Yeah, again, this is not a slight on Iowa. I really love Iowa. I keep hearing about it, but then I do a little looking into like how they've done against the better teams in the conference, and it looks like they just don't show up, and they usually get smacked around. That's my only point. I'm not saying anything wrong.
They're resource capped, though. I mean, like they can't really get the level of talent, level of players to really take that next jump. I don't think. I mean, they're a very strong program. If some programs, particularly one on the West Coast, were as consistently disciplined and well coached as they are, they would do a lot better.
Oh, anyway, I don't know. Wouldn't know about that one. But I would tell you the fact is that when I think of like powerhouses and racking up big wins, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. Maybe I'll find out one day about Iowa. But
if you're saying like you play a team with a pulse, Iowa has a pulse. Like that's a solid. Like you're playing a team. You're going to find something out about yourself when you play Iowa.
Right, we'll see how Iowa does the rest of the year.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, David Griswold. Yeah, 8-1-9-2. Do we? No. Unfortunately, we got both our big games on the road this year. Whoops! Did
Tim,
I
you
let
guys
something
got
out?
Penn State next week, right?
No, we're off. It's like the first week of November, I believe. Jackson usually has the stuff ready on the top of his head. You know exactly.
Which team are we talking about?
Ohio State, Penn State.
That's on November 2nd.
Yeah.
That
So
and that's likely going to be on big noon kickoff. I don't.
But Tim, you guys have Penn State this week, right?
Yeah.
In the Coliseum.
Yeah.
yeah.
Penn State USC will be on CBS. I will say I do like the I.
Where did
I,
Tim go?
I think it's It's going to be at the Coliseum.
Tim's right here. I see. Tim hasn't left.
Uh-oh.
There you go. Now I hear you.
Check 1, 2. We good here? All right.
Now I hear you.
But yeah, I think it's going to be pretty awesome seeing Penn State USC on CBS. And I know it's way too early to talk about week 7, but I would not be surprised if I see USC upsetting Penn State. I think that loss to Minnesota will light a fire in their ass against Penn State.
Penn State USC is this week, isn't it?
Yeah, Saturday.
Yep.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
You know, it's weird. And they're tracking it. I was the one saying that travel would not be an issue, but the traveling team so far going east or west has, I believe, before the USC game, I think that there was 1-7 for the traveling teams. I can't remember who's the team that won traveling either to the Midwest or to West Coast. Oh, it was
Indiana pounded UCLA in the Rose Bowl.
Washington beat Michigan as well. Oh no, sorry.
But that was in
so they're the one traveling, so that's another loss. So yeah. So far that travel thing has actually been a thing.
So what has happened? So Ben and Tim, Spaz, Sean, I just gotta ask, and what happened with USC and Michigan? And are we gonna see the playoff race get ugly between both of them?
USC, I'll tell you right now, I was way over my skis on our offensive line. Our offensive line, not much different than last year. And as much as we looked at our defense, defense was absolute disaster. The offensive line was holding USC back just as much as our defense, believe it or not. And the fact that the defense has been fixed, but the offensive line, especially that right side, right tackle and right guard play, the guard plays a little bit better. But dude, the tackles are playing. It's like a turnstile on the outside. And with Penn State, what gives me the shivers is they've got some edge rushers.
Those guys are freaking animals. There,
right. So USC's. I mean, their only chance is to get do some mass protect. Run some 22 or something. I don't know what they're going to do. Hey, Sean, give me a second here, but Sean, give me a second. Sorry. So the only way they do that is they're going to have to get some mass protect because that O-line, you had Minnesota with rushing 3 getting home. And I don't mean getting home eventually. I mean getting home pretty quick. So playoffs for USC, that ship sailed. The line's not good enough. No way. USC, they don't get that sorted out. They're going to lose at least 2 or 3 more games this season.
Yeah, and I remember watching the Michigan game. At the beginning of the game, that first quarter and a half, I mean, you guys could barely get into your dropbacks without having the Michigan defensive line just mauling you. Miller, Moss, and Frank.
In the first half.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, in the second half, they made some sort of adjustments. And, I'm not saying the offensive line held up great, but they were doing enough to give Miller, Moss, at least the USC enough time to run the play.
Yeah.
They were able to actually, get to first and second progressions.
Yeah, they brought a redshirt freshman, Tobias Raymond, in at right tackle and slid Mason Murphy over to left tackle. But the problem was, I don't know if you guys watched it, but USC the fans were all over Lincoln Riley for calling 2 shovel passes in a row. And they're like, what are you doing? And the funny part is on the second one, when they show it from behind, see what happens. Mason Murphy released the guy inside, which is the only way you could blow up that shovel pass play. If you'd route him outside, that's exactly what you want. And then you got, if you look at the shot from behind, you had Woody Marks, and then you had our, center Monheim in front and green grass. And I mean, he's picking up 15 to 20 yards at least. And then at that point, they just could have salted the game away. But the fact of the matter is USC's offensive line is crap right now, and they couldn't figure it out last year, and they haven't figured it out this year. And good luck being a good offense. I don't care who your skill guys are. If you've got Swiss cheese up front, you're not a playoff team. That's for sure.
So with the upset victory over the USC Trojans, does this kind of quiet the storm that PJ Fleck is on the hot seat discussion?
Oh, yeah.
Or does he need a few more wins just to kind of cool his seat a little bit?
No. I think he was probably fairly safe anyway, but at least for going into next year. But I definitely think a win like this is. I mean, I saw Minnesota Dave call into Mark's show, and it was the first time I've ever seen him actually put his camera on. Handsome guy, Dave. You should do it more often. And I mean, like he was over the moon. I mean, like Minnesota hasn't gotten to experience many big wins, and I think this will linger. This will last for a while, even if this isn't the Pete Carroll USC.
I was pretty amazed. Yeah, they rushed the field. 11th ranked USC team that lost 2 weeks before. That was interesting for me to see that one. I mean.
No, I mean it's the brand. It's the brand
or anything. That's for sure.
It's the name, It's that's the fact that USC is just a brand new member of the conference.
Well, I mean, and to answer Hummus's question, Riley. If you take away, obviously, with about 52 seconds left, they had to throw the ball, so they threw the ball like 7 straight times. Okay, but before that, SC had rushed the ball only 2 times less than they'd ran. They were pretty much 50-50. And the time of possession, that's why Riley always says, you guys put too much emphasis on time of possession. The time of possession was well in USC's favor. So
that's really unusual.
But the reason why they're able to run the ball effectively is because they had a too high safety look. They're playing soft, and they're rushing 3 and basically letting USC run the ball. But then on the play where, if you guys caught the play where it was the interception, they'd switch to a single high safety, and they were bringing guys up into the box. And that's why they went to throw. Mason Murphy gets blown up. His arm gets tipped. Interception. That swung the game.
Well, I felt like when Minnesota was going for a touchdown on 4th and goal in the final minute of the game, I was like, if they miss this, PJ Fleck really gonna get a lot of hate for that play call.
Wait, are you talking about the 4th and goal from like 6 inches away? You're talking about? I mean, that was. You there?
I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that was a no-brainer decision. Like, you have to go for that there. You have to push that in. I mean, if you kick a field goal, you're going to kick it back to USC. USC is going to get the ball, probably between the 25 and the 35 and have a chance. Even if you miss there, you have them backed up that far with very little time.
It was a gutsy call. You kick a field goal there. Yeah, with a minute left. I mean, we saw it. USC can get into field goal range, but taking the ball 75 yards compared to taking it 35 yards, that's a whole different ball game,
Yeah.
It's a great call. Gutsy call. It worked out for them. I'll tell you what, though, did anyone see the replay? Did anyone see the ball cross the plane?
I thought
you mumbled that. What'd you say, Sean?
I'm sorry. I thought he got in, and I thought it looked pretty clear that he did.
You thought it looked pretty clear. Was there indisputable evidence that he got that ball in? Yes or no, Sean? Yes or no, Sean?
Yeah, probably not. No, I would say no.
So,
Yes or no, Sean?
but here's the question then: did they
I
call
would-
a touchdown? Did they call a touchdown on the field?
They
They
did
called
not.
him short.
They said he
They
was
called him short.
Okay. So, thinking of that, well, now let's transfer really quickly to a certain touchdown on the field that was overturned last week, and then a no targeting foul that continues to let Miami somehow escape these games. Because once again, we're talking about referee replay. Touchdown on the field over replay goes, nah, it wasn't a touchdown without actually having evidence.
I tell you what, Ben and Spaz, we've talked about how crappy the Pac-12 officiating is. I got to tell you, between Michigan and between this game, the officiating that I've seen in the Big Ten has been absolutely tragic, man. I'm not bitching about one play here or one play there. By the way, though, I'm glad we were holding the shit out of the Minnesota guys. I'm glad we've learned how to do the Big Ten block. And the Big Ten block is you just wrap your arms around the guy, the edge rusher, and give him a big bear hug, because that is the Big Ten block, because they don't call that shit. SC was doing it the entire game and they didn't call it once. I was freaking out about the Michigan game saying, oh my God, there's holding on every play. They're not calling it. That's because that's blocking in the Big Ten, which is cool. And I hope USC does figure it out, because, I mean, they don't call it. Mason Murphy literally was grabbing on every single play, and they didn't call it once. No. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think the Pac-12 refs got hired by the Big Ten.
They did. Someone said that. No, they literally did. A bunch
Some
of
did, yeah,
Pac-12
some
guys
did.
came to the Big Ten,
Yeah.
which is a shame, a damn shame.
Yeah, because as we've seen, and the rest of them went to the ACC to help Miami.
It really feels like that, because that Miami, those Miami calls. I was like, are you kidding me?
That targeting is about as textbook. I mean, an 8-year-old could have made that call.
Oh,
How on earth? Crown, launching, side of the head. I mean, he hit every single definition of that rule. No targeting? Are you kidding me? It was amazing.
So, do we see now? We haven't seen that many winning seasons from Justin Wilcox at Cal, and I get it. It's Cal we're talking here.
It's
But-
Justin Wilcox.
Yeah,
That too.
but so College Game Day was in town for Berkeley. Cal loses to Miami, blows a 20-point lead, but 2 weeks prior to that, they lose to a 1-win Florida State team. Not a national champion Florida State team, but a 1-win Florida State team.
Well, really, 0 wins outside of them.
So, do we see any? Are we seeing any hot seat discussion coming up for Justin Wilcox? Or
In order to fire your coach, you have to care about football, and I'm not sure the Cal administration is there right now.
I think Cal.
That's why they haven't fired Justin Wilcox. Exactly.
I mean, like
Oregon's golden child, Justin Wilcox.
Oh no! I mean, I love Justin Wilcox, but for God's sake, when Oregon interviewed him, I was like,
down
dude,
Oregon, right?
No. When he wanted to bring his staff, Oregon said you can't, so he turned it down. Because he
Thank
wanted to
God he
bring his whole
did.
staff. Well, no, thank God.
Yeah.
I was like, please do not hire Justin Wilcox. For the love of God, love the guy. He's a great guy, but please, we do not want him as coach.
Initially,
Look at what he's done at Cal.
and he's honestly done a better job at Cal than he gets credit for. That is a really tough place to win. I mean, they are very strict with their academic standards, and
Jeff Tedford.
they just don't care.
Had it going on. So I mean, yes, sure, it's tough, but Jeff Tedford was crushing it for about a good 5-6 year run.
Yeah, he was.
Had some of the better NFL players, on both sides of the ball come right through Cal. He was able to get them in. I mean, I'm not going to give Justin Wilcox. Believe me, we had Wilcox at our DC. I'm not a big Wilcox fan myself.
Yeah,
That was a different time for
Cal back then actually cared about sports like football, and now they really don't seem to much. Not like they did. I think they're coming back around now. I think they've kind of been rejuvenated a little bit, but You still have Justin Wilcox.
The algorithm has breathed some
yes.
life into this program. In like 10 years, when Cal becomes like a power and stuff, we're going to point to these Twitter posts. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what this Tony. You got to claim this guy. He's one of yours. You guys, Tedford only had one good run at Cal. That's so incorrect. I'm not sure if Tony was watching football back in the 2000s. So,
one good run that lasted about 7 years. I mean,
right.
Tony's just giving you shit, Tim.
I'd have to, hey, Spaz, I'd have to know who this guy is and care if it would be really get upset about it.
Right. He's one of our guys.
I said, I'm sure he's a duck, so you guys can claim him. Clean up on aisle 9. Baz, take care of it.
So, at least, Tim, I will say this. You, at the beginning of the year, you said there were things to work on, and you said you were as non-homer as non-homer can be, because you said you believed that. I believe you said you thought USC would go either 8-4, 9-3. Correct?
I didn't say 8-4. I said 9-3. I said there were issues on both sides of the line. The defensive line surprised me, but you know what? Losing Bear Alexander, that's a big hit. More than most SC fans realize. Not because he's a great player, it's just the depth. And I think you saw it in that game. We had freshmen out there playing, and we had guys. We had Sam Green, who is so far down the depth chart. But once a couple of injuries start packing in for USC, and the reason why I said that was I saw a couple of losses. I thought we were going to lose to. I said we lose to Michigan, and I think I said either Penn State or Notre Dame. I can't remember which one.
Yeah.
But then I said we'll lose another game just simply because of attrition, because it's football, and if you're not deep, if you're not like Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, where you have that depth just at certain positions, especially on the lines, Oregon, you lose 2 or 3 guys. Most programs don't have the depth to
cover those holes.
And that's USC right now, and that's why I said maybe another loss. But now again, the way our offensive line's playing, I'm downgrading it a little bit more.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, like, it's amazing. USC almost has some of the same problems they had when they had those sanctions. I mean, this is something. I mean, why is this such a problem?
We did. We're just coming off sanctions. We self-sanctioned. It was called Clay Helton, and we had him for 6 years. And so if you looked at USC's recruiting from probably 20.
Oh, it was bad.
To 2021, except for 1 year, he just miraculously had this like number 8 recruiting class in the country. But outside of that, it was like in the double digits. And so when Riley walks in, SC is always going to have like receivers and skill guys. But offensive line was just the offensive line wasn't bad. Clay McGuire, who's up at Washington State right now, did a pretty good job putting that together. But the defensive line was a mess. The offensive line had no depth behind those starters. So as soon as you saw those starters go out after 2022, and that's what you saw last year. Last year was a shit show on the offensive line. And so that's why USC really lost 7 games. SC would have probably won a couple more games. Those close games they lost, they probably win those with the 22 line. But it was just a mess, and they're still trying to dig themselves out of it, and they're not there. They're just not there right now on the line.
Yeah, think they're going to hit the portal pretty hard. I mean, in the age of the portal, it seems like you should be able to supplement depth a little bit better than this, but.
That was the thing. They went and grabbed Michael Tarquin and Ethan White. Ethan White was like a second string or third string, their third team all SEC guard. The problem was from Florida. Problem was he didn't clear medical, so when he came to SC, he was out. Tarquin just did not seem like a fit, and they brought down the guy in Kingston from Washington State, who was great up at Washington State, but just for whatever reason. They couldn't gel last year. It was last year's offense. There's questions now about Josh Henson. I mean, that Josh Henson might be the issue with USC that's pulling them back, because outside of offensive line, this team's played very well outside of offensive line. It really has. Imagine SC with a decent offensive line. Michigan fans, you saw what they did with you guys. What if we could protect our quarterback? It would have been a wholly different game. And probably next week against Penn State might be a different game if we had a really good offensive line.
I still
Even
think
a
you
decent-
guys got a
even
shot
decent
because
offensive
it's in LA, and I don't think Penn State's that special this year. They've had a couple of
I think they're about what they've been the past like 5 years. A really good team that's a hair off of the elite.
I think honestly, Penn State at 4 in the AP poll is way too high. It's way too high.
No, it's just because they haven't played anyone good enough to really test them.
I think
but
honestly,
they've had some eeky fucking wins, Illinois, and
That wasn't. Well, I mean, they controlled that game against Illinois. They won by 2 touchdowns.
not
yeah, but
And,
it was a game until late in the fourth quarter,
It was, yeah, it was, but
for me.
and they've had a couple of
Bowling
those
Green's
games.
the major one. Bowling Green's the one that's like
Yeah,
that.
Bowling Green.
How the hell did that happen? But
Yeah, that Bowling Green game. That's got question.
Really quick, Moose. Who's that quarterback going to throw to? Because your receivers are crap. So I kindly disagree with you. Sorry. I mean, if your receivers can't get any separation, you could have you pick it. You could bring Tom Brady back. But you know what? Those receivers you guys have, you guys aren't doing anything, dude. Sorry.
Well, Trojan Fight agrees with you. Where'd he go? Jeez, just skipped ahead. There we go.
No, there you go. Yeah, I mean, please.
yeah,
There are some schools at some point in times where when you hear they pick up some recruit, you're like, eesh, maybe you should reconsider. And I think some of them are seeing that right now. No offense, Moose. No offense, Michigan. Relax. We're coming to see you.
Well, I did tell the Michigan guys also that as soon as the film was out on Orgy, that the orgy was gonna be over. It was great. Matter of fact, Lynn figured it out in the first half, and then the second half just shut them
they
down.
were going to come. Yeah, they were going to come too soon, and it was going to be.
I'm not touching that one. But yeah, it might be a long season. It might be a long season now going forward for Michigan if they have to go with Tuttle.
Yeah, and Tuttle, I mean, yeah, he provided a spark to them, and he didn't. I mean, the first couple drives they were starting to move the ball, and he wasn't even doing anything that exceptional. But Michigan was actually just able to run a real offense for a while. It kind of took Washington by surprise, I think, because I think they had game planned all week to just be playing 8-9 in the box and just play. Wonderful football.
Now everybody has film on all 3 of their quarterbacks, so they can't have that little spark that they've been using.
But once Washington, I mean, the last 3-4 possessions Michigan had were absolutely pathetic. I mean, they didn't do anything at all.
What do you call a team with 3 quarterbacks? Swiss cheese.
What? Wait, what?
What do you call a team with 3 quarterbacks? Swiss cheese.
Okay.
I want what he's drinking. If I would going up to the bar, give me what he's got.
You didn't hear Swiss cheese?
I'm sorry.
Now that you enunciated it, it's much funnier. Yeah.
But how are we feeling about Washington after this NBC? Well,
I like Jed Fish. Will Rogers is not an exceptional quarterback, but he's the proven quarterback. And Jed Fish, I mean, look what he did with Arizona. I mean, he may not be able to do that this year, but Washington's not. Watch out, Ducks. They're not. I honestly, I mean, DeBoer was awesome, but Jed Fish, gotta. If anybody could turn around that Arizona program and play the way they did. Now, granted, a lot of that, I bet he wishes he had Fafita and not Fafita, Tedero McMillan that came with him. That would have been nice.
Oh God, yeah, that would have been something. And Washington's fans have to be a little on guard about the Florida situation right now. So
Yeah, and
James Franklin has taken that job. Didn't you hear?
no, he's not gonna leave for.
You guys, that's a troll account. You guys don't. That's my friend.
What
It's a
kind?
complete troll account. That's not serious.
I was gonna say, what kind of account are you reading from? This? I think I'm just gonna have to pull my inner Banner. Oh, God damn it, Spaz!
I thought it was legit. I thought it was funny as hell.
Yeah.
Spaz, you got another cleanup on aisle 9. Spilled all over himself again.
What do you think, Ben?
Sorry, I just tried to get a text message from someone who runs this channel in the middle of a show. Check emails, so I wasn't really listening.
Okay.
Check
But-
emails.
Let me see.
Are we all being fired? Cool.
Anyways, are we talking Washington still?
Moving on.
Yeah, we're talking a little bit about
Yeah, Washington will be fine. Obviously, they lost a lot last year. The coaching staff, Jed Fish, like we know in the Pac-12 here. That's the thing. When you talk Pac-12 schools, let the three at the top, former Pac-12 schools, rather, let the three at the top talk about them because Jed Fish is a good coach.
And Washington,
But it'll take them a couple years to rebuild.
They're really close. They're really close to being undefeated this year too. I mean, they lost to Rutgers. They outgained them by like 220, 230 yards in that game. Missed a few field goals. Lost to Washington State, where they significantly controlled the game. I mean, they probably should be undefeated right now. And I
Washington?
mean, they replaced their whole team. So yeah, I guess I would say like they do look like they're a little bit ahead of schedule. And their kicker, who was really really good last year, has been awful this year. So they're.
Fish did bring a lot of guys from, and the defense is a surprise to me. The defense is playing solid, but Fish did bring a lot of guys. That's why Arizona's win the other week was even more of a surprise because that team was gutted. It's like everyone took their players with them, but the guy from San Jose State might have brought his guys, but it just really didn't equate. So that therefore, when their win was as much more shocking than anything I've seen because that's a hell of a lot of coaching because there was nothing left at Arizona. But yeah, he's done a good job. He's done
except for Sophia and McMillan. Yeah,
he's just Jed Fish, man. I mean, I tell you, he's a good coach. He is a solid coach.
He is. We were happy. We were happy last year to not have to play Arizona.
Yeah,
because Fish finally had Arizona at that level that he wanted. Think if he'd stayed there one more year in the pack, where that team would be this year.
Right.
This team would probably be the favorites to win the Big 12.
Yeah, they would have. Yeah, they would have been the favorites to win the Big 12. I'm sure of it. They're better than Utah, Kansas State,
Iowa
State. Quiet, David.
But I noticed that.
You know what? I do want to mention, David. A rebuild year might be coming next year because Ohio State's losing an absolute ton after this season. There will be a lot of fresh faces playing next year.
Well, I noticed that Will Rogers threw his first set since 2023 this year, like since late 2023. He had a streak going on, but Michigan broke at one point.
There was a comment earlier, and I can't fact check this in real time, but is it true with Texas A&M blowing out Mizzou? Texas A&M is number 1 in the SEC.
Hell no.
I mean, like they're the only undefeated technically.
Well, Texas is the only undefeated in the SEC.
In the SEC, so yeah, I was like Texas A&M. That can't be true.
Yeah, because
Texas A&M has to have one loss. I know they just beat Mizzou, but I don't think that would surpass Texas.
Yeah, Texas A&M is unbeaten in conference play. They're not in anything. Texas A&M still got some droughts to end.
Well, okay, Darrell's saying they're 3-0 in conference. Texas 1-0, so technically A&M is above them Texas in conference play.
Yeah.
Well, they won't.
Maybe that's what they meant earlier.
They won't be when it comes time for Texas.
Oh yeah, no. A&M is doing well. Elko's doing good already, but
Why do I feel
I don't
like
give it time.
Texas A&M will be the Saturday night game for rivalry week? Because that for AB that feels like an ABC Saturday night game.
They need to. Are they not having that game on Black Friday like they always did before? Oh, that's a bummer. God.
But they're putting Georgia Tech on Black Friday, Ole Miss, Mississippi State on Black Friday.
Egg Bowl.
Yep. But Black Friday is another time for another day when we get to it. But what was everybody's thoughts on Arkansas, Tennessee? Tennessee could not get the job done against Arkansas again. And also, what does this do for Sam Pittman?
Well, buy some time, that's for sure.
Yeah, it looks good for Pittman, but this just screams like a repeat of Ole Miss last week with Kentucky, where it's like, here's these two offensive teams, and all of a sudden they just can't get it going for some reason. It's just kind of weird. Because Tennessee is supposed to be an offensive juggernaut, you know.
Yeah, Tennessee's a strong defensive team too, and that's what kept them in this game. I didn't see anything but the fourth quarter. I gotta find a way to, watch a condensed version of this game because, yeah, I mean, you travel on the road in the SEC. That's always just going to be tough. Additionally,
oh my God, that's funny. Hold on, hit that one.
That's why I had to laugh. It's like, oh my gosh.
Poor Tennessee.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad.
They've been the butt of a joke for like 20 years.
I remember hearing Colin Cowherd saying, "Oh, Tennessee can win it all. He can win. They can win."
Yeah.
What is Colin Cowherd smoking? Like does the guy? I don't think the guy's been watching a lot of college football this season. I just kind of he sniffs his own farts and eats them. Honestly, like the guys on South Park that are just sniffing themselves because they got the hybrid cars. Like bro, Colin Cowherd, watch some college football with us. Come on in to the Voice of College Football where you can get some college football. Don't just watch one or two teams. And don't say stupid shit like Notre Dame USC shouldn't even be played. Like, the hell are you smoking, Cowherd?
Well, Jackson, I can save you a lot of time. He says that to get people pissed off and watching his stuff. If you don't like him, don't even respond to him. He's just trolling people. He's like,
it is kind of a reasonable from like a perspective of USG. You're playing a Big Ten schedule. You're playing 9 games in conference. Are you going to want to like automatically put a super difficult non-conference game on your schedule every year?
Well, we've done it for 100 years, so why would we stop?
Well, because it's, you've got a 12-team playoff to consider. Like taking a loss in that,
hold on, but that's even more of a reason because traditionally you lose one game, you're out of the national championship hunt, and USC every year would have, especially when Notre Dame was like 150 years ago. Notre Dame was really good. Sorry, Will, I'm just kidding. That was a joke. But they had them, and then even with the BCS, you lose one game, you're out. Unless you're like an SEC team, then you get a mulligan, of course. And then if you look even recently in the 14 playoff, one loss could keep you out of 14 playoff, and USC still kept Notre Dame, and Notre Dame still kept USC on their schedule. The thing is now there's 12 team playoff. You can drop a game. The funny thing is now that you can drop one, maybe even two, if you're a really solid team and you're going to play well in your conference. Why not go out and play these tough games? But we all thought that was going to happen, but really it's the reverse is happening. Now USC is playing a team that was FCS last year. It's going to be their first year of FBS, and we're padding our schedule with them. Why? Because that's what everyone else is doing, and it's in reverse. They're still going to hang on to Notre Dame because that's a special game. It just is. USC Notre Dame, as much as everyone hates Notre Dame or hates USC, that is one of the traditional games throughout history, period.
I'm sorry. Welcome back, Search. Poor Bruins. Poor Bruins. Welcome back, Search.
But
Oh no, he's always here.
Okay,
yeah,
looks like I haven't seen him for a while.
Austin
So
Powers.
welcome
I
back.
remember the Austin Powers line.
I've never seen him. I've never seen him ever before. I don't know who this guy is, but
haven't
that is
seen him.
it's a good
Yeah.
one.
LA guy from
Yep.
Pac-12 chat show from last.
Yep.
There's a callback.
That is an absolutely killer avatar, by the way. I mean, what is that logo? What era is that from?
That is classic, like
I can-
classic
Yeah.
UCLA.
That is sharp. That is a nice looking logo there.
I'll tell you one thing. If there's ever a LA live show at the Voice College Football, I think Search should definitely be a part of that. He'd be great at it.
For
But-
UCLA. UCLA is having a rough season.
Yeah.
Rough season.
Well,
Again, they got left high and dry by Chip. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When Chip Kelly came to UCLA, I told my friend who was a Bruin. I said, I thought it was a coup. I thought they were gonna, we're in the middle of Helton Hell, and they were pulling in Chip Kelly. I'm like, shit, SC just screwed up bad. They're gonna take over, and Chip just never got it going. And then he leaves them in a lurch. I mean, look when he stepped out. What was UCLA gonna do for a head coach? All the head coaches had taken jobs. I bet you they would have loved to have Jed Fish. They would have loved to have had other people, but they were left in a lurch, and so it's got to be rough.
Yeah, no, me and Spaz talked to the Locked On UCLA guy, and we're like, this Sean Foster's way in over his head. He has no idea what's happening for the most part, and he was like, yeah, pretty much. Like he's gonna learn it. He'll learn it, but it's gonna take him time to do it because he's never really even been
gotta learn how to
position
talk to
coach.
the media.
I mean,
He's never been a coordinator. Never been never commanded a unit. Now he's head coach at a Big Ten school.
Well, it's not like they didn't watch USC try to do it for 6 years. They should know better. So I mean,
Search is good, dude. But yeah, we do miss you, sir. We'd love to have you on After Dark. All the same, I know I'd love to hear your take on all of college.
Search is retired. I tried to pull Search. I mean, I did. I asked him, hey, come on and do some stuff. And he's like, I'm retired from shows, but he's around.
He might one day, but also he's East Coast still, unless he moved. But he's East Coast, so it's also.
Why are you doxing him, man? Jeez.
East Coast, yeah, that's doxing, all right. That's very specific East Coast.
You narrowed it down, man. That's like
yeah. If you can find someone whose username on YouTube is Search on the East Coast, I mean, very sensitive private information here.
Oh no. Oh, well, that was a good timing for me to say, oh no, because I can't wait till players start putting ads on their jerseys. No, this is not soccer. If that starts happening, I'm going to boycott.
Helmets?
But you know who will be the very first team to do it?
Is it the one with 45 uniforms?
The Oregon Ducks.
No, they don't need the money. No. They already have their corporate logo, Nike. They're not going to have anything else. They got Nike.
They're going to shove that big swoosh on their helmet. They'll replace their 92 helmets with just a plain white with a black swoosh.
You're probably going to see it in some of the group of 5, group of 6, group of 12, whatever it is at this point. They might need the revenue. I don't think you're going to see it from a lot of the Power 5.
No, there was the jersey. Who wore that jersey? That was a QR code. There was a team that wore that. It had a QR code on it. Like in 2020, wasn't it? There was a team that made a jersey with like a QR code on it or whatever, but it was like South Florida or something like that. They did it. It was a QR, but no one could. It was so enlarged and blurred, or you couldn't zoom in far enough to scan it.
It would never. But like a QR code, like that jersey's never like perfectly like. There's always like creases in it and stuff, so the QR code would like almost never work.
It was unreadable. It was unreadable. But one team did try. I think it was South Florida, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but one team did try to do it, and it was unreadable, and so it never worked.
Oklahoma State did it this year.
Did they do it this year too? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what somebody was just saying down there.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going through a bunch of shit. Oklahoma State tried to do it, but I think Big 12 said no. Well, Oklahoma State sucks, so who cares? They're 3-3. They suck.
Well, Arkansas, I know that they're doing all right. Yeah, there's no Merrimack had a bye week. Sorry.
Yes,
Troy.
yeah, exactly, Troy. We already talked about it twice. Merrimack had a bye week, so there's no news. They're on the same. Oh, Jason might be right. UCF. It might have been UCF. I was like, I think it was a Florida school. I was like South Florida, or maybe I think it was UCF. Actually, I think Jason is correct here.
I'm glad Jason O's talking about Central Florida because the Florida Gators had a huge victory against Central Florida on SEC Network. Now, this game, I have a feeling, cools the seat for Billy Napier. And in a way, Florida not getting attention is a good thing, especially for Billy Napier. Because, like, as they say, no news is good news. And, gentlemen, we've all had times in our lives where no news was good news, right? I think the same thing is said for Florida.
I thought you were setting up a segue to a promo read there.
Oh, we're not there yet.
We've all had times when no news is good news.
That's what I thought it was. I thought that's what was happening too. I thought there was a huge setup going on right there. So I was just like chilling. I'm like, okay.
Jackson is 18 different.
No. Jason, that was last week, and the big green of Dartmouth kicked a walk-off field goal to unfortunately sink the Merrimack last week.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
didn't they already play them?
Yeah.
Well, I know we'll find out quite a lot about Florida for the next 2 weeks, and we're going to find out see what they can do in November because that's a scary as hell slate for the Gators. But that Central Florida win in Gainesville on Saturday was a much needed win.
It is true.
Oh my God.
Gary Williams says it. Next Saturday is going to be great. It is because Merrimack plays at Morgan State Bears. Let's go. Oh, sorry. Okay, enough about Merrimack. Damn it. They're on a bye week, people. Leave Merrimack alone.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, Billy Napier, this might have helped a little bit, but if they don't go bowling this year, or if they end up having it, even go 6-6 and then lose the bowl game, it's gonna be rough. I mean, they got to make a decision. Within the next 2 weeks, if they're gonna move on or not.
I mean, I feel like I thought they should have pulled the plug on him earlier. They have won the last couple weeks, though. I mean, nice little reprieve with Mississippi State and Central Florida.
I'm super modding and I'm banning Moose. I'm timing Moose.
Yes. Yeah. Timed out for an hour here at least. Come on. That is after dark blasphemy right there.
Aww. But Amazon Day is coming up. So you know what that means. Might as well hop on Amazon using the link to support college football. You don't need to buy the product displayed. Doesn't cost a penny, and you get the same shopping experience. And I tell you right now, it's a wild one. And here's what else you can get on Amazon, especially when it gets to Amazon Prime Day. Disputed National Champions, the college football historical reset for the 1990s from Mark Rogers himself. And I can tell you right now, it's a book you're going to want to get.
Thank you for
They
reminding
just
me.
need to pay you to be the walking advertiser, Jackson, because that's what you are. You're a walking advertiser.
And thank you for reminding me too, Jackson, because I got an email a couple days ago, but I'm still catching up on shit. I got to actually do it because I have to go through and read. I have to go through and read the book for a review. So thank you for reminding me, Jackson.
Oh, you're welcome.
I really think Jackson should consider a cameo. I think if he made his pitch, you include a couple demos and something like this. I think I would pay $20 for you to wish me a happy birthday, Jackson. I would.
Yeah, you need to be on Cameo, the Cameo thing.
Absolutely.
I don't think I'm that big.
It's not. I bet, but hey,
But $20, $20. Love top-notch predictions, betting advice, exclusive live stream, and insider looks on all college football. Go to patreon.com/MarkRogersTV or become a YouTube member of Voice of College Football, where you can also check out the $99 VOCFB bets, where you can get some of the top picks from Mark Rogers, Matt Zemek, and of course, Steve Merrill, the ace of the hole from Wager Talk, where he gives out the under the radar pick of the week.
That's damn right. There's one thing, other thing we didn't touch upon it, and Spaz, you can bring up Oregon if you want to later. It wasn't on my list, but you can talk about it if you want to. But is SMU one of the top 3 in the ACC right now? I mean, obviously, I think they are, but can they actually potentially compete for the ACC, like first year?
I do like that.
They had the embarrassing game against BYU, but after that, they have just been rolling.
Well, they had an embarrassing week 0, like near embarrassment against a terrible Nevada team. Sorry, I retract that comment right now. Now, Neil, a rebuilding Nevada team.
Yeah. How dare you insult Neil and the Wolf Pack? How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah. So, I mean, it looked like they might be in for a rough sledding, but yeah, so far, so far, I mean, like that Jennings at quarterback, he's stepping up. He's looking legit. He's kind of a wild man. But I mean, and they've got the easiest schedule in the conference. That's right? I mean, like they don't play any of the top teams here, so they could definitely get there with at most 2 losses by the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. It's like, yes, I think most people would look at this and say, at this point in time, of course, now with how FSU is just a tremendous dumpster fire. It's bigger than it was when we literally titled the show. FSU is a dumpster fire. It's even worse. It's exploded. The whole campus is on fire. But SMU, at least, if you think they get one lucky swing one way in a game, it could be them competing for the title in their first year. I don't think anyone saw that coming.
Well, I mean, when people looked at their schedule this year, I think a lot of people were kind of optimistic because, this is not much tougher than the schedule they were playing a couple of years ago in the American, when Cincinnati and UCF and Houston were still there.
But SMU are just laying out weapons of mass destruction on Florida State. That was just, oh my God,
that was ugly. That was ugly. I mean, it was a close first half. SMU was in the lead. What was it, like 17-14 or something like that at the end of the half or something like that? It was close, and then SMU just like, no, not in our house.
Oh yeah.
And I've been to SMU Stadium. I don't know what the upgrades have been since, but yeah, they blew them out of the water.
Had like former President George W. Bush there, where it's like, I guess SMU was really throwing the shoes at Florida State, and he's just kind of like, oh well, I'm at SMU. Don't tell my dad, don't tell my dad, Uncle Rush. Don't tell my dad.
You saw it coming. Making pay-for-play illegal is SMU's forte.
I mean, like SMU smacked Florida State, and this week, like you said, they won against Louisville in a tight fashion. You know, the schedule bodes well for SMU. The second half, they got Boston College, Virginia, Cal in the last 3 weeks, and Stanford, of course, they're Stanford. Duke, I make of them. But Pitt's the only tough team on
True, Pitt. Yeah, Pitt.
but you know,
Undefeated and ranked Pitt right now.
Yeah. I forgot about Pitt. I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten about Pitt because they're just kind of like flying under the radar this year.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And
no news is good news, especially for teams like Pitt. Like no one's really paying attention to them is a blessing in disguise.
It is, but eventually it's going to come out, obviously, because when you know you're playing an undefeated team and a ranked team, of course, it's going to start hitting. But yeah, nationally, they've kind of just flown under the radar.
Oh yeah, yeah. But the ACC status.
Duke is 5-1, huh? Wow.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you mentioned that because Georgia Tech put an end to it real quick on Saturday.
You there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Georgia Tech is, still kind of just lingering there. I still, again, we think we say it's week 7. But, a lot of these teams already had a bye. So, that means the season is longer. So it's not, to us, in a sense of our mind, it's not really week 7, even though it technically is coming up. Kind of feels weird.
This week will be the halfway point of the season.
Oh man, we're
Yeah.
living.
That makes you, God. I mean,
yeah,
it goes by fast. It goes by real fast.
Oh man, it's like good grief.
Yes, Hummus, that would be incredibly just. I don't know, ironic, humiliating.
No,
Miami.
that
Something Will brought up here. I was listening to one of Mark's earlier shows today while I was driving, and brought up there's a chance that you could have Miami, Clemson, and SMU all go undefeated through the ACC schedule, and then you have to decide who's going to play for the championship.
true.
There's no way that SMU would get in to the championship game if it's between them and there would be some sort of finagling, I would think, to make Miami and Clemson the championship game.
I mean, there's no way we're going to be seeing Clemson go down against Wake Forest next Saturday. That's just not happening.
No.
Wake Forest is not a very good team right now.
No. But Florida State. I mean, they're just a dumpster fire, and I've pretty much wasted my breath on the Seminoles.
No, again, Jackson. It was a dumpster fire weeks ago. Now it's just the campus is burning down. The entire campus is just on fire. That's
USC.
USC is not.
No, they're not. They're not even on dumpster fire level. Like they might be on like fire watch.
No, but I mean they're gonna burn their Lincoln Riley's house down if he keeps screwing up more.
Okay, this is coming from Spaz. This is coming from Spaz, Tim, not me. I'm saying you're on like fire watch maybe in case another loss comes. But as for Florida State, their campus is on fire. Like,
oh yeah,
it's already
Florida
burning to the ground.
Fire.
Look, I get it. USC has just not been what we thought they were going to be, but you're talking about a team that's not been embarrassed in any games they've been in. I don't understand why we,
and both road games, both are road games. So
and
no, I'm saying they were both road games, and you were right there. So
it's weird that our definition is a dumpster fire. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's why I'm not. That's what I'm saying. It's that guy
Big
over there.
Disappointment, not a doubt.
Yes,
but dumpster fire. I think that's a bit.
That's the other duck. That's the other duck. Yeah.
Like I've been saying for like a few weeks.
That's just me picking at you, Tim, because I love you.
Well, I've been saying for a few weeks that
it's embers, right? That's not the embers of that, not ambers, but
yeah, I've been saying for a few weeks that it kind of feels like 2024 Florida State much similar to 2007 Notre Dame. Like maybe it's just me, but they feel eerily similar.
I'll tell you, yesterday in college football reminded me of 2007, all the way. Just that whole.
Or the fact that they were at Cal. That seems. But Cal, I was surprised to learn that Cal had never hosted college game day before.
They did.
Yeah.
Oops.
That whole time
being there.
Yeah, that whole time through the Kyle Buller, Aaron Rodgers.
Roger, I love you to death, but here's the thing. Are you comparing Lincoln Riley to Helton? Because that's truly just absurd. And literally, here's the other difference. It wasn't like the ball had to bounce a bunch of different ways. You're talking about two losses that both happened on 4th and goal. So you're right. I mean, they're still losses, but they're not getting handled by anybody. The other team made the plays to win the game. Helton was just a freaking embarrassment. So, I mean, you could try to draw the parallels between Helton and Riley, but we're really getting a bit weird. And no, I mean, I don't think it's an excuse. Those are like legitimate facts. If you want to call it an excuse, excuses are like, well, the refs were out to get us, and that kind of stuff. That's excuse making. But the fact that SC was in both those games, I mean, on the road, and we keep hearing how tough it is to win on the road in the Big Ten. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's excuse making. That's just the facts. We'll talk. We'll see after next week. We'll see what happens with Penn State. Then we might have to have some conversations. But as of right now, there's nothing that's been an embarrassment, really.
No, Tim, you said it well. The biggest issue you have right now is your offensive line, and if you fix if you're able to roll through the attrition and keep your quarterback upright, we've seen Miller Moss can sling the ball and he can lead USC up and down the field. It's just they got to keep him upright. And the longer a season goes and the longer a guy, no matter who that quarterback is, keeps getting pummeled, eventually he's going to break. And unfortunately, that's what's happened in a couple of your games. It's just right there, a couple of plays differently, you guys could be 6-0.
Roger's got to help me out. What play is there? A 17-point play? I mean, I'm trying to figure that one out because USC won pretty convincingly against Wisconsin. Not sure about that one. And that is my point.
Oh man, that was my worst gambling loss of the year, right there. That was.
I don't know. I don't know what a lot of fans thought that USC season was going to be. USC was going to lose 3-4. I think pretty much everyone said 3-4. Didn't Vegas say like SC was like 6.5? What was it? 7.5? What was it?
No, it could not have been that low. It was probably. I would guess it was probably like right at
USC.
8.5, probably.
I don't think it was 8.5. I think it was like 7.5.
No.
Yeah.
It was like 7.5. So. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You guys get all upset about 2 losses. Yeah, this one hurt. That Minnesota loss hurt, man. There's no doubt about it. The crazy thing about Michigan and the Minnesota loss is this: USC had the ball with a chance to salt the game away on their offense, and both times against Michigan and against Minnesota, they go 3 and out. We're used to the defense folding, let someone walk right down the field, score. You had the opportunity this year where it's literally the offensive line is just not at where it needs to be, and that's why they have 2 losses. No question about it.
Colonel Coliseum was saying that Georgia Tech's never been to game day, but actually they have been.
Got to ask Mark. That's his favorite question. Game day. He
Yeah.
loves game day talk. Where's it going to be? You guys in the chat, next time you're on the main channel, ask Mark Rogers where game day is going to be next week. He loves that question.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
At least he'll come on your show, Tim. He
Uh-huh.
won't come on ours. Just saying.
No,
Well, yeah.
wait, hold on. I show up on his show. It's his channel and his show. He doesn't come on anything I own. I go to his show and he's there. That's what I do.
The last time game day was near Georgia Tech was week 1 against Notre Dame in 2006.
Well, I'm sure they've been in Atlanta plenty of times.
Yeah, but not for Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
But College Game Day has never been to Rutgers, Illinois. They've never been to SMU, shockingly. And
Why is that shocking? How is that? You say that like SMU's a dominant program year in, year out.
well, not exactly, but at least they'd want to go there for a bad week or something. But here's something that's not surprising. They've never been to Virginia or Syracuse.
Again, I'm not shocked yet, Jackson.
They've never been to Blacksburg? Wow.
No,
Virginia.
No,
They have been to Virginia Tech. That would be shocking.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me, but Virginia would shock. I'm like,
been to Virginia Tech, but they've never been to Virginia, which is no surprise. Yeah, so 5 schools they've never been to is Illinois, SMU, Syracuse, Rutgers, Virginia. But another school that's really shocking to me that they've never been to is Maryland. I kid you not.
Okay, yeah, I'm still not shocked. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I get in the Big Ten era, but in the ACC era with Ralph Fregin, you'd think they'd be there at least once.
They were only good for like 2 years under Ralph Region. It wasn't that long.
True.
Wasn't that big of a success. And yeah, they've mostly been irrelevant.
But it does kind of feel like game day could go to Rutgers, Illinois this year for some reason. I don't know why. Not saying they, but they could.
Well, Illinois is playing.
Illinois does that is a possibility. 2 weeks from now, Illinois plays Michigan at Champaign in a couple of weeks.
Well,
I don't know what.
Georgia.
Michigan's got 2 losses. Who's going to want to go?
I mean, but they've literally never been to Illinois. They're playing. It'll probably be like a super close spread. It'll probably be a spread within a field goal. And it's
But in 2 weeks, Georgia and Texas play. That's where.
Okay. Never mind. Okay, that's done. That's out the window.
Yeah.
I just had to bring that up because I didn't know for
Bring
sure.
up the hope.
And
Yeah.
Tennessee played that way well.
This isn't right, is it? I thought Big Noon was in
Yeah.
Red River rivalry.
No, Big Noon. No. When Texas and Oklahoma,
They're doing Washington, Iowa, correct?
Big Noon kickoff.
Was it?
The Big Noon kickoff studio will be at BYU, Arizona, but Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt are all Washington, Iowa. Oklahoma are not in the Big 12 anymore, so therefore they don't get the contract.
Where's the Big Ten game crew gonna? I mean the
BTN
pregame crew for Fox gonna be?
Okay. They're going to be at in BYU.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big noon kickoff crews at BYU Arizona, but Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt are going to call Washington, Iowa, and we're going to be hearing a lot of "oh, touchdown." Not very much from Iowa, of course.
Hey, remember, I didn't
have very much at all.
Jackson said that, not me.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about that. Was Jackson who made the comment about the Iowa offense.
But of course, Iowa's offense has got a little bit better compared to last year because there is no more.
Brian?
Yep, no more Brian.
Oh, yeah, and yes, so
No more Fredo to ruin the offense there.
Colonel Cadmium here. Yeah, game day is at Autzen for that game.
Yep.
Which was to be expected, especially if we were undefeated, which both are. So now you have number 2 versus number 3. As we kind of predicted, we expected 1 versus 2, 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, 2 versus 4, something in that range. And so, of course, they're going to go because that's definitely one of the could have one of the biggest impacts of the year, not just on the Big Ten, but in a playoff, because that could wreck a team the rest of the season too, depending on how bad it is, or I don't see that happening with these teams, but
the last thing wants to be a blowout one way or the other. The Big Ten wants like a nice close game with one winner, kind of like, as long as the score is less than 2 scores, then it should be fine.
Whoever has the ball last is going to win this game.
Potentially, I do think it's going to be a pretty close game. I have a feeling it's going to be like a 7-point game.
I'm not duck hating, and I was cracking on the schedule for Ohio State, but Ohio State's looked a lot more. Put it this way: Oregon looks a little more vulnerable. Sometimes you guys have been a bit shaky in some games where I think you guys should have been a little more solid. Whereas, although Ohio State's had some bad first halves, I think, but as far as a whole game, they haven't looked as vulnerable as the Ducks. But again,
Oregon's breaking. Ohio State team has played together for. Outside of a few pieces, this team has played a lot of football together. So there's more familiarity with the scheme. There's more, there's more consistency and cohesion than there's been at Oregon. But Oregon's got a ton of talent. It's not when Oregon was struggling the first couple weeks, and really honestly, that Boise State game doesn't look that damning right now because that's a damn good football team.
Well, your best running back and your quarterback, your best safety, they're brand new to your team, right?
Wait, our best, our quarterback, yeah. So we've got our quarterback, we've got one running back and a safety. Yeah, they're brand new, but those are additional pieces. Those are complementary. Those are complementary guys. But I'm saying we have a lot of guys that have played a lot of football, and most of them at Ohio State. So the fact that they kind of hit the ground running a little bit smoother than Oregon did is not a big surprise. I don't think it's much of a. I don't think it forecasts much for this game because Oregon's got a good team. They're starting to hit on all cylinders, and they're playing really good now.
I think Tim touched upon a point, and me and Spaz can both agree upon this. Oregon's had some good first halves. The second half, they kind of lull through the second half of those games until it's necessary. I will say, for instance, the first game of the year, are we shocked the team had a little struggle fest in that first game of the year? Yeah, not the way they did. That kind of sucked the way it did against Idaho. But Boise State, that win is looking better and better as Boise just bowls people. In their conference.
And how about the Beavers? They're 4-1, and nobody's even mentioned them.
So I'm not saying that Oregon hasn't struggles, but now they're figuring out the O-line situation. And like someone just said, Serge said Chip Kelly probably hasn't shown anything. Well, we're in the same boat. We're like, I don't think Stein has actually shown anything yet. He's kept it pretty generic outside of what he's had to do just to move the offense. So
Watch the
I'll tell you this: Chip Kelly's shown quite a bit. They've been actually quite exotic, and I'm sure that's intentional too.
potentially, yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's a mind game trick scenario amongst both teams, just doing
Yeah.
what they need to do. And even the announcers of the last game against Michigan State, they were like, I don't think this is what you're going to see next week from Oregon, because Stein is holding stuff back. He's running just screens, his bubble passes. He's shown a couple deep shots that haven't necessarily worked. Some didn't. Kind of testing stuff. But now figuring out the O-line, I think now he's ready to open it up a little bit. So we're going to find out. I mean, we're going to find out. Who knows? Obviously, we're not the OCs of these teams. We're not Chip Kelly or Will Stein. So.
Yeah, and we got to pull back Searcher's comment there for a second.
We will, but let's hit this really quick. Iowa played Illinois State, Iowa State, Troy, and the mighty Minnesota, the Trojan beaters. They've got a great defensive stats. It doesn't mean that they're a great defense. Yes, we know that year in, year out, Iowa has solid defenses, but they haven't played really anybody until they played Ohio State, who kind of showed us that their defense might not be as great as everyone thinks it is. Leaving it right there.
Yeah.
And you want to go back to Search's point about Jeremiah Smith?
Yeah. I mean, the past 2 weeks, he said 3 catch of the year candidates. This week. Yeah, I mean, like this guy, he's just a velociraptor. He's just an absolute freak among freaks. Here,
we had a catch of the
I don't know.
year.
I don't know what to say. Like you can see why Ryan Day almost passed out when he found out that he was finalized and coming to Columbus. Yep,
that's not me. That is not me. That's Tim.
That's not me. I would never.
I was just laughing at Search. I was laughing at Search. That's why I was too distracted. Search. Poor Search. Poor Bruin.
Ryan Day's always looking for that special little nugget somewhere, and he found one. That's good. Went down to Florida and finally found that little nugget.
Yeah, this weekend's gonna be great. The Oregon Ohio State is gonna be. I mean, it's up there. We've already had a couple game of the years. You could argue, obviously, Alabama, Georgia. Hell, you could argue Alabama, Vanderbilt could have been even maybe just because of the way it finished. I mean, there have been already a bunch of good games, but yeah, Oregon, Ohio State, obviously one people have circled throughout the calendar, especially undefeateds, to just set the tone for the rest of the season for those teams.
It doesn't really matter who wins or who loses this week, because it's probably going to be Oregon, Ohio State, or some version of that.
It's more how you lose, how they lose.
Yeah,
I think it's what makes more of a statement is how they lose. If it's a 3-point game, is it a 7-point game, or is it a 21-point loss type of thing? I think that's what's going to determine how this weekend goes. Have we discussed how the pollsters are a bunch of sissies to not rank Navy or Army? Have we talked about that?
That's what I don't understand is why are Navy and Army unranked? I don't understand that one bit.
Both undefeated.
I mean, are we going the AP rules where we go just directly on your schedule regardless of who you play? Or are you talking about like the resume of who you play and how you played in those games? Because, I mean, do we think that Army and Navy, although all respect to our service members, are a top 20 team, top 25 team, the top 25 teams in the country? Or are we just handing it out because they've won?
Well, that's a fair point. Now, and in sense, I will say, so like others receiving votes in the coaches and AP, both of them, it's others receiving votes, USC, then Nebraska, then Army and Navy. But in AP, it's Navy, then Army, and coaches it's Army, then Navy. That's the only difference. So they're technically they're technically like 28th and 29th, 27th and 28th ranked, technically, if you want to look at it that way. But still, they're undefeated.
So there's something interesting that could come up with Army and Navy. They're both undefeated, and they're both in the AAC. They don't play until the week after the American Championship game.
Yeah, they get their own. They should still have their own weekend this year. I think they still have their own weekend.
They do. Yeah, so they could possibly play a week before, and the Army Navy game is after the CFP selection show.
Mm-hmm.
So they could possibly play on championship weekend, the week before their traditional rivalry game, and they could play like with one of them with a chance to get into the CFP. I mean, it's totally, or possibly the winner of that game could get in to the CFP.
Yeah,
and then they play the next week just for shits and giggles. I mean, just for
Yeah, I'm just saying it's kind of like when any team is like actually undefeated, at least they're ranked like 25th, 24th when they're undefeated. Army and Navy have been pretty dominant in their wins when they've been playing these teams. They've been actually pretty good, like pretty solid wins. Like they're not just like last second field goal type style wins.
Yeah, so, but I mean, they might. Our Army might have played the worst schedule in the country so far.
And who's 25, Ben, who's 25 in the country?
Right now, SMU.
Yeah,
and they're 5-1. I mean, and that's not insulting SMU. I'm not insulting SMU at all. They're 5-1. They're 25th, and I'm like, that seems fairly low for a 5-1 team that has been blowing out a couple teams, too. So some of these rankings, that's why I'm like, if some of these other teams hadn't lost, do you think Miami would have gone up 2 spots this week? No, it's because other teams lost.
That's the only reason they went up, because if that had been Oregon, they would have went down 3 spots.
Case in point. Because, what did Oregon do? They won. They went down spots. They won against Boise, which that win is looking very good now. They went down 2 more spots. So, I mean, everything has righted itself, so to say.
Miami wins by the officials 2 weeks in a row, and they move up both weeks. That makes sense.
As long as we all agree that was targeting.
Yes, it was definitely.
That was pretty egregious targeting to me. Someone said earlier that he wasn't a defensive player. Got that, but he lowered the head, launched, and hit directly on the side with the crown of his helmet. That's targeting.
That was absolutely targeting.
Targeting.
It hit every one of the box. Checked every one of the boxes. That was absurd. That kid could have got seriously hurt on that play.
Yeah,
he got laid out. He got laid out.
But I mean, like, let's hope there's no long-term effects. That was a chicken shit hit. Everybody knows it.
Yeah, that would have been the game.
There's times when you can tell. There's times when you're going head to head right at like let's say a 220-pound running back. All right, you're gonna lower your head. He's lowering his head. I almost get that one, but to lower your head, crowd the helmet to the side of someone's head like that, coming from the side,
coming at him from the side.
That's head hunting.
Yeah.
We remember those high school kids that wanted to head hunt, get the big hit. That's exactly what that one was.
Yeah, the running back, when he dips and the defender dips, you understand. You can't avoid it because you're trying to go low as a defender. Right. The running back dips his head. He initiates This was just blindside to the side of the head.
Exactly.
There was no question. That was just brutal.
Yeah.
That was trying to kill, like literally trying to take him out, basically. That's all it was. Like you said, head hunting, basically. I mean,
there's no room for that in the sport. And that's why that rule, like it or not like it, whatever you want. I mean, I think everyone should like that because this is not gladiator sport. That right there is why the rule's in place. That's a stupid, needless, just dirty ass play.
Yeah. It.
Yeah. And it was, and it just didn't get thrown. Just terrible. No flag.
This too. Yeah.
No, they
that's,
reviewed it upstairs and called it nothing.
no, yeah, no. That's why he said the ACC league refused to let Miami lose on that call. Exactly. They're like, this is all we got going right now, and then Clemson's kind of there, but we need to keep Miami going.
Certainly need to set up that potential undefeated versus one loss showdown in the championship game. So,
oh, Colorado, Kansas State. Colorado's not ranked, are they?
Yeah.
No,
No, not yet.
no, they're not. Colorado only has 3 votes.
That's going to be an interesting game, Colorado State. But I don't think we mentioned anything about Syracuse UNLV. We talked a little bit about Group of 5 teams, but UNLV.
What happened, UNLV? What happened in that game?
Oof.
I thought they had it.
I feel like had they held on to the interception not once but twice, they would have won. No questions asked.
you can't beat the power of McCord. That's what I'm going to tell you. Both of those Friday night games were
For sure.
absolute dogfights.
And we didn't even mention Missouri, Texas A&M. That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
Kind of
All right, guys.
Missouri's a fraud. Anyone that's been paying attention knew that.
I'm heading out. Thanks for having me, Ben. Thank you, guys. Good to see you guys.
Good to see
Take care, Tom.
USC at the Voice of College Football. Frankly, Matt Zimmett.
Thank you.
Check out the USC channel, everyone.
See you guys later.
Especially for their meltdowns. They're epic.
See, at least Tim.
Fight on.
He gets out of here early.
I'm still getting over my tears from last night, Ben. Don't rip open scars. I was just crying for 2 hours straight. I'll see you guys later.
Oh man. Yeah, Kansas State, Colorado. That is an interesting game because it's like just totally different styles. I don't know what happened with Kansas State last year. I can't remember Johnson. Is it Avery Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, why did I just blank on his name? Last year, that bowl game, he looked so good. And then this year, something is just like kind of gone awry. I don't know if it's a mix of the defense and the offense, or if it's just like he's regressed or not confident anymore. I don't know. Because that bowl game, he looked good. I was like, well, they have their quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what goes on. Indiana is the first bowl-eligible team of 2024. Holy Toledo.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, how is Jeffrey not here tonight? God.
Oh, man. But I will say, tune in on Voice College Football Tuesday nights from Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports, and you can also check him out on the post-game show Saturdays. Stay tuned.
Yeah, that is true.
Indiana
6-0.
And I will just say this: Indiana, we start an Indiana Voice of College Football channel, and they go 6-0 for the first time in like 100 years. Is that a coincidence? I don't know.
It's a case of good timing.
Well, appreciate you, Blind Squirrel Sports here. We're here every Sunday doing the same style of format, which is no format, really. It's what they like to do. So definitely consider subscribing and check out the main channel.
It's just 3 guys who are awake and 1 guy who we're not quite sure if he's if he's alive or not.
He's not alive. Yeah, he's half there. But yeah, all of us just literally are part of the panel that I post the link. It's open panel for all the Discord, Patreon members, and YouTube members. We come on, we just talk the week of sports, and but definitely check out this main channel here with Mark when he does it. Monday he has his morning show, right, Jackson?
No, Monday through Wednesdays, the morning show
He's
as of
not doing it anymore.
been canceled.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, they're canceled as of this week. Uh, the focus will be on Sunday morning and Thursday, Friday, Saturday post game shows. The Voice of College Football is producing content that you want to see. See you soon.
That's because Mark doesn't want to face the Oregon wrath.
oh. If only do I have a tab? Do I have a tab for ranting with
Wait,
Spaz?
wait, he's not posting a show that no one in Oregon is going to be awake for.
Oh man, yeah. Here's a good segment. Spazzing out. That would be that. What do you think, Spaz? You like that segment?
It used to be ranting with Spaz.
Well, yeah, all the tabs got rearranged, so I had to remake a couple earlier because all the banners got rearranged, and I was like,
But I've been on a point. I've been trying to get Mark Rogers all year to talk about this game coming up, and all I kept getting was, "It's way too early for that. It's way too early for that." The week of the game, he cancels a bunch of shows, and then tells us thanks but no thanks to come on our Oregon show. I think that's a man running from his fears of what's going to happen on Saturday. And
"It is
he's
true.
just
It is
afraid.
true. It is true." I did text Mark earlier, and he was like, "I'm really busy. I don't have time this week." I just said, "Hey, name a night, and we'll do it." And he's like, "Oh, it's really busy. Can't do it."
Shit, man, I'll come on your show. I'll come on your program anytime. Talk this game. I will break down every position, every group. I know everything about both of these teams. So
Well, what about do we bring Garner in tomorrow or Wednesday, or do we bring him in Saturday morning?
What time is the game on Saturday?
4:30.
6:30 p.m.
Oh, yeah, because we're gonna do a pregame, but he's probably gonna be doing stuff. So it depends on what Sean's doing. Let's put it that way.
all right, just yeah, shoot me anything on Discord. Shoot me a message there. I'll make time somewhere.
Well, we're doing a show tomorrow night at 9:00 your time, and
What's that
also
sound? Yeah,
Wednesday.
either one works for me. So
Okay.
I'll make
Well, we'll
I'll make
just
it.
send you the link and for either show. You can come on either one or both if you got time or whatever.
Absolutely, no problem.
So, is there anybody we left out for this week? Anybody else we left out? Because I think we left out like West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Nebraska.
Oh yeah, that was a. I mean, it's just typical Big 12, typical Oklahoma State. You never know what to expect. Like, God, why does every like significant game they play seem like it's a blowout one way or the other lately?
Is Casey Dunn coaching his last year's offensive coordinator at Oklahoma State?
Is who?
Is Casey Dunn coaching his last season as offensive coordinator at Oklahoma State?
I mean, if you keep turning out performances like that, yes. I mean,
Well,
like last year, Ollie Gordon like completely like captivated the nation. He was like the Ashton Genty of 2023. And what has he done this year? I mean, like just
Shit
this
all over
is
the Big 12.
well, he
it's
took
just it's like he has gone completely invisible. He's like extinct this year.
Well, Ollie Gordon took a hit against West Virginia on yesterday, and it was apparent leg injury. Question is, should he return at any point in the year, or should he sit out the rest of the season, prepare for the 2025 NFL draft?
Depends on how serious his injury is. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's a great look, especially when you've had a really, really rough season. He's averaging under 4 yards a carry this season. So
I think the DUI got him.
I would think he should be incentivized to come back and play a little bit and show that he's still got some time. But if you've got a severe injury and it may take some time and you may have to get surgery in the off season or something like that, just sit it out and just wait and hopefully ride on your 2023 tape and hope that gets you into the first three rounds of the draft. I mean,
Because if I'm Ollie Gordon, I would just sit out the rest of the year because, I mean, really gaining. I mean, you're not really getting much of anything.
it's
I mean,
it hasn't gone well for him this year. That's for sure.
yeah.
So
So,
I
and
don't know.
all I got to say for Oklahoma State is they can't blame this on Texas or Oklahoma. They can't go, well, life is hard because of Oklahoma. Well, I'm gonna cry. I got everything running down my cheeks. I'm upset. Like, no, you can't do that. You're not doing Texas and Oklahoma anymore. It's put up or shut up time in Stillwater. And as for West Virginia, do we think they can make enough of a comeback? Do we think they can make a huge run? Or do we need to see a little more from the Mountaineers, especially in the next 2 weeks? I mean, and gentlemen, we talked about Kansas State, Colorado being a big game for the Big 12 next week. What about West Virginia, Iowa State? Because number 11, Iowa State, coming to Morgantown, that's going to be right there. What do you think?
I think that's a huge game for. It's probably a bigger game, really, for Iowa State, really, because Iowa State's got real playoff aspirations. I don't think West Virginia really does. To be honest, I mean, they've got a bunch of coin flip games. They're kind of that team right in the middle of the Big 12, and like I've said, the Big 12 is the flattest conference you'll ever see right now, where almost anybody can beat anybody. And we saw that Friday night with Houston as like a 17-point underdog against TCU going into Fort Worth and taking it from them. So, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I guess West Virginia can if cards fall right. They can go on a run here, but they could also go on a bad run and lose a bunch of games, and Neil Brown could be out this year. I mean, it's just the Big 12 is a high variance conference, and it can go one of two ways for West Virginia. So. But it'll probably end up being like another 6-6, 7-5 year
Take
for
that,
them.
TJ.
But
What was that?
But yeah, it's obvious that Magic, like any 20.
TJ Watt just got burned. I love it.
Oh yeah, any 2022 Magic that Sonny Dykes had is all gone. It's really all gone. And yes, tune in for the biggest 12 Tuesday nights from Clint Foster on Big 12 at the Voice of College Football, where he recaps the latest week, where he recaps last week from the Big 12, and he gives a preview of the upcoming in all of Big 12 football. And let me tell you, you're not going to want to miss. You're not going to want to miss his awesomeness on Tuesday nights.
Yeah, the Sonny Dykes is not a bad coach. I mean, as an Oregon fan, Spaz and I, we've had to face Dykes. He's not a bad coach. That year though with TCU, it was just magic, rejuvenation with him and Riley. It was just like a rejuvenation amongst that team. and then it just Riley left, and it just kind of has all just kind of fallen apart.
Yeah. I mean, like they caught every break that year. You know, like a team that probably shouldn't have been in the playoffs cheated their way all the way there, and they had to play them the first round of the playoffs. And
I just always remember the field goal against Baylor where they ran it, then they ran up and ran the special teams on, and somehow got the kickoff with like 3 seconds left or whatever for the game winner. I was like, that's impressive, though. That was impressive. That was time management, to say the least.
Yeah. The thing, I mean, that run came out of nowhere, though. I'm absolutely nobody expected anything from TCU in the offseason that year. And then they did what they did.
Yeah, you expected maybe like a 6-6 team, maybe.
Yeah. That's what Sonny Dykes. That's what you should expect. Like that's what Sonny Dykes has kind of been in his career. You know, up tempo, a lot of high scoring games, and you know they win some, they lose some. But that year they just won. They just won a lot more than they lost. Their numbers just kept coming up. So
yeah, it's one of those things. You get those runs. You get those magical runs.
Yeah. That was just a hot night at the craps table that season for them. It was doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it can be very lucrative. And then of course they got like wickedly, like obscenely exposed in the national title game.
I think a lot of teams would have that year too, though. Unfortunately, I think Georgia just that year. Georgia was obscenely good at out scheming people. Like they just knew how to do it,
Yeah. I mean, like Georgia was a better team than Ohio State that year, but we came fucking so goddamn close. I was just
dependent fanatic. Even I think is like, okay, yes, that and granted, TCU and Michigan both had basically a month to, plan for each other, and then you saw what Georgia did to TCU. It might not have been as bad against Michigan that year, but Georgia still, I feel in my heart, and this is not anything against Michigan that year, Georgia still would have stomped Michigan into the ground, I think.
But here's the thing: Connor Stallions had no idea TCU was going to be in that game, so he was not advanced scouting for them.
Well, that's true too. But they also said, I love the story, and this is not to bring up Connor Stallions. That's the Ohio State guy over here. TCU used I don't know. I was reading a comment. TCU used fake play callings the last couple games to throw off the signals, so they didn't know what plays were actually going to be run or whatever, because they heard about the potential of that, so they used the fake hand signals, so it wasn't really the play call that was being called, and it was like an internal thing within the program. I was like, that's smart. That's smart. I don't know if that's true, obviously. Whatever.
Fitzpatrick just about killed the man.
This is a college football show, sir.
I know.
Shit, man.
All right. Is there any final thoughts over this week 6 of the college football season, the AP, anything like that? Final thoughts, gentlemen.
My final thought, well, all I can say is when there's a sloppy week in all college football, it just means one thing. Upsets are coming. And especially where you least expect them.
I mean, like that doesn't hold it. That's never more true than this weekend, because Vanderbilt over Alabama. I honestly, I would have bet against that for my entire life, that Vanderbilt would beat Alabama.
Ever bet that at all? Like, forget the regular season. Whoever bet it in the preseason, I want to know what their opinions are on the winning lottery numbers in Tennessee. Like seriously, I really do. Baz, what are your final thoughts? Or are the Cowboys getting you bothered?
What? It's 4th and goal. Sorry.
All right. Well, I'll go while Spaz watches 4th and goal. I have to agree that this last weekend seemed maybe like a sleeper, kind of a sleepy weekend. And yet, again, when I went to the concert, Alabama was down to Vandy, and Spaz was texting me going, "This team just lost. This team just lost. This team just lost. This team just lost." Cal's up 28-10. I was like, oh, tomorrow's gonna be great. So you never know what's gonna happen on any given week. You gotta love it.
Ben, what concert were you going to? Because that game started at 2:30. At like, what was it, like 3:00 your time?
They opened, technically it was 5 p.m. We went at 6.
Wow.
It was Seether and Skillet.
Shit. Wait. The doors were at 5.
Yeah, you know, bar. We get in there early, bar, parking, all that stuff. You know, all that shit. We got there at 6:30, but yeah, and we were there till we left at like 10.
Yeah. That's gonna be Ohio State next week, son. Right there.
I'm not watching Spaz. I don't know what about.
Yeah, I know. I tell
20
people on here
seconds
don't
to
realize
go in the game. 4th and goal.
some of us actually really only watch college football, and some people don't understand how that works. But yeah,
I don't. I know the Cowboys were playing here, so
And most of the time, while I'm doing After Dark, I'm watching the NFL game.
Yeah.
all I heard most of the time, I'm just watching the cock, and
Spaz, final thoughts on this weekend of the upset. The upset we're calling this the upset weekend because it was
2007 all over again, man.
Everyone was crying, but everyone was cheering at Vandy, at Minnesota, Washington, and Vanderbilt and Arkansas. Everyone was cheering. The fans were cheering. The students were cheering. The 40-year-old white woman at the award show was crying tears of joy. It was a humongous weekend full of upsets.
what was the cashier at Publix doing?
Oh, the cashiers at Publix, they're just trying to get through their day by day routine. They're waiting. They're waiting to
Nobody
get.
here on the West Coast knows what that is.
yeah. Publix is not a thing on the West Coast.
What's the
Or
most
is it-
popular grocery store in Oregon?
Safeway or Albertsons.
Safeway or Albertsons.
Yeah.
Safeway.
Safeway.
Tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers at Safeway Albertsons about the magic that Spaz and Ben are doing on Oregon at the Voice of College Football. And I'll tell you right now, you're not going to want to miss them. And of course, Monday night is full of an amazing lineup. You got Matthew Miller on the Texas Longhorns live show on Texas at the Voice of College Football, 6 p.m. And the second edition of the Big Ten Live Show from Darren Todd's Ball. That's going to be a wild one as he's going to be discussing Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, USC, and he goes over the recap of Week 6. And yours truly will be having the 7th edition of Crimson Tide Live on Alabama with the Voice of College Football with Johnny Burks as we have Alan Cole from Gamecock Scoop at Rivals joining us to discuss the Alabama-South Carolina preview. And let me tell you, you're not going to want to miss it. And you most certainly are not going to want to miss our venting session for about 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah. Make sure to catch up with Darren, fellow Grand Rapidian, West Side, Best Side, Roy Michigan peeps here. I have to track Darren down and see. Maybe we can meet up at Founders or something for a couple brews because never met him, but apparently we both live in the same city. We're probably very close to each other. So
Yeah, there you go. Oh, you also, how dare you, Jackson? How dare you, in the words of certain other people on another panel, how dare you? Don't miss out me and Spaz's first of 2 or 3 Ohio State Oregon previews tomorrow night, Monday
Wow.
night, 9 p.m. Central, where we will have the humble Buckeye.
I was looking on the lineup on
the
the.
humble Buckeye.
We'll have the humble Buckeye. Apparently, he's a mix of Ohio State Duck fan.
What?
He just gives it as it is. So
That's right. Tell your friends and your family and the cashier. What's the first story again? Say that one
I
more
have
time.
never been to a Publix in my
Well,
life.
well,
I've never
well,
even
well, well,
seen.
well,
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 no, I have seen one in Jordan.
if we're trying to appeal, yeah, Safeway, Albertsons, or Kroger's.
Safeway, Alberts. Tell
Kroger
your
or
friends,
Fred Meyer or even Fred Meyer. Fred Meyer.
tell your friends, your
Right,
family.
Fred Meyer. How is Fred? Wait, you guys have Fred Meyer out there?
Yeah, Kroger.
Yeah, they still exist.
Oh my,
Tell your-
no. I mean, like that's a Grand Rapids thing. Meyer, Fred Meyer is from Grand Rapids. Fred Meyer.
Yeah, but that's an Oregon staple. Yeah, that's an Oregon staple.
Oh,
Still, I don't
really?
know if we still have
Wow.
them. Yeah.
Ohio pregame.
Yeah.
Fast. I'm gonna. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
we'll be having a few of the a few of those preview, and I need to actually get with TJ the thing to do a pregame show because we'll definitely do a Ohio State pregame show on Saturday. Definitely.
nice.
And HEB is better than Winn-Dixie, better than Publix, better than Kroger. I don't know about Breakaway. I don't know about that. Kroger's not
I don't know what HEB is. I've never heard of that.
It's here. Everything is better. It's a
Are
southern thing.
Steelers, let
Oh, okay.
something. Spaz, I know you're watching, but are the Steelers doing some backyard bullshit?
Yep, they're trying.
That's
over.
what I call lateral.
I'm just wondering, is Pat Fryermuth catching a lot of balls or not? Because that's all I really care about in this
Got a
game.
touchdown to
Not big enough.
Pittsburgh
That's
ahead.
Woo! There we go.
Yeah.
All right. For the final time, Spaz, Jackson, then Sean. Tell people where they can stalk you online.
well, they can stalk me online.
I like how he skips Spaz. I said Spaz, Jackson, Sean.
Okay.
Damn it, Jackson. Pay attention.
Well, we all know Jackson's as rude as they can come. They are. He's as narcissistic and as egotistic as they come here.
Well,
So,
Spaz has a mouthful as usual. So,
Spaz.
Cowboys, baby.
all right, go ahead, Jackson. He's not paying attention.
Well, yeah, because I'll do it. Then it'll be Spaz. So you can find me. That's Johnson979 on YouTube. You can find me on Jackson VOCFB on X. Jackson Johnson 543908 on Instagram and Threads. And you can find me on Alabama with the Voice of College Football every week. Alabama with the Voice of College Football. Stay tuned. And of course, also you can find you will see my next episode of the Jacksonian with Leanne Herring from the Rebel Walk and Ole Miss Live, as we'll be going over quite a lot about the Ole Miss Rebels and the Ole Miss LSU preview. It will be released on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time.
You can find me right there at Sean Spazdrag on Twitter. Jackson's got all my other links and all the other sites. Mostly find me on Twitter and Discord as well now. Yes, I am also on Discord.
You can find Spaz on Sean_Spazdrag.
Yep. And where am I at on Discord?
Says Spaz on Discord, but that's it.
Spaz 1999 on Discord.
Shit, you look like you.
you put your birth year in your
No, I party like it's 1999.
Dude, you look like you've been in 1949.
Almost.
But it's all in love, man. It's all.
I had Amish Paradise from Weird Al stuck in my head there for a second. I'm gonna party like it's 1699.
No, it's 1999 Prince, bitch.
I got Weird Al stuck in my head there.
Weird Al. The Weird Al song's better anyway. The Prince song.
Sean, I love the ESPN sound effect. But Sean, it's your turn. Where can people stalk you?
You can stalk me. Jackson will drop the Twitter link. I don't know it because it's I haven't really customized it in any way. But I don't know. Hopefully maybe I can catch up with the my Duck friends here for a preview of this week's game. And other than that, right here every week at the Voice of College Football. If you're anywhere near Firekeepers Casino this week, I will be there basically every day. So in Battle Creek, Michigan. So if you're there, just look for the most handsome gentleman in the establishment and say hi.
I'm sorry, I meant
The
to
guy
mute
that's taking
myself.
everybody's money? Yeah, okay.
I meant to mute
Yeah.
myself.
We know where to find him.
I'll buy you a bar and I'll give you a $325 bet at Dacey Sportsbook. Okay, we can go 50-50 on it.
All right.
There you go. There you go.
So who has to walk around? Who has to walk around Eugene or Columbus or wherever you're at, buck naked?
Who the hell does that?
Wait, who has to do that? What?
Yeah,
No.
Ooh.
the
I
loser.
mean, whoever loses this game, it's quite expensive if you're. I was actually looking up flights to the God. It would cost me like $900, $900 for a round trip flight out there this week. I was looking it up. I mean, I guess it's like insane.
Yeah, it's still even though there's good connections, it's because it's not like a main airport. You're paying that extra premium for that from like Denver or Las Vegas,
Of course, yeah. And then you have to and then of course you probably fly into Portland and it's like an hour. If you fly into Portland, it's like an hour and a half or so away from Eugene.
Almost 2 hour drive, about a 2 hour drive, I think, right?
Yeah.
Oh
like
yeah.
2 hour, something like that. Yeah.
Bam,
Yeah, so that would be an expensive Uber as well. So
Yeah.
or car rental. Yeah.
And then the hotels are expensive because it's game day, especially this game day. The hotel prices fluctuate.
There is no hotels within about 40 miles of Eugene.
Exactly. Now you had to have that shit.
It is completely sold out.
Yeah.
No.
Bam,
You might have to go an hour and a half away to get a hotel.
But like I said, you can get tickets for like $230, $240. I mean, they might not be very good tickets, but
standing room only really is the best spot because you just walk in the bowl.
Autzon's, I mean, for as good of a team as Oregon has, Autzon's not that big of a stadium. So
60,000.
I was expecting to see like $600-$700 minimum price tickets, and you can go on TickPicks, Geeks. I mean, I advise this to anyone. If you're ever going to get try to go to a game, try to get a ticket, just wait until the last possible minute. The prices always drop. You'll never be left out in the cold.
Yeah,
and I mean, that is when the scalpers are just unloading. It's just
they're
warehouse
desperate to drop. Yeah.
So never panic and buy 2 or 3 days ahead of time. Never, ever, ever, ever do that. Ever.
Yeah, I was dumb and bought my Michigan State tickets like 2 months ago, and paid $120. Friday morning, they were $25 anywhere in the stadium, pretty much.
Yeah,
Right.
always, for certain things, same with like airline. Now, airline, of course, if the plane fills up, you're screwed. So,
True.
but if you can get it the morning, like literally the day before,
Logic,
for
that was
airline,
my offensive line at the beginning of the year. Dylan Gabriel does not mind pressure. He is fine.
No.
He can move the ball. He just hasn't shown it. We haven't used that because we haven't needed to use his legs yet.
all right,
Yeah.
all right,
But
everyone.
we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see come Saturday.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't think your defense is as good as you think it is.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out a lot of things on Saturday from a multitude of teams, but definitely Ohio State, Oregon is one of the premier games by far.
Where can we find you, Ben?
I'm just Ben of Exploring with Ben and Sam right here on YouTube, or Exploring with Ben on Twitter. And as to that, let's see who wants to honor tonight. I would coin flip it, but I could give a shit. So,
Is that right if we all say the line at once?
all right, if everyone could say the line at once,
Wait,
I'll
wait,
do. Was that?
Yeah. Can we synchronize them?
Yeah, I'll do a countdown of 3, 2, 1, and then we'll go. Okay, so ready? 3. We're still gonna fuck this up, but 3, 2, 1.
Pop.
Lay us
Yay!
out, Pop-Tart.
Play us out.
And titties. And Spaz showed us titties. Oh God.
Oh God.
Mm.
It feels like it's like Mordecai seeing Pop's name.
Wait. That didn't feel right. That didn't feel right. Anyways, everyone, next Sunday, make sure to join us right here on After Dark. So
Here we go.
all right, let's try that again without the titties, Spaz. 3, 2, 1.
Pop.
Lay us out,
Pop-Tart.
Pop-Tart.
Play us
Play
out.
us out.
My God, you all suck.
The choreography is
Dirty.
not.
My titties aren't as bad as that. That's sexual harassment.
That's the wrong. You're talking about the wrong stream, Spaz.
God damn it, Baz.
That is sexual
Dirty.
harassment by a Pop-Tart.
Dirty Pop-Tart.